When you're in Linux, handling your data is pretty much everything. But, there are so many command line tools. Which one are you supposed to use? Well, today, we are breaking down 3 absolute essentials for backups and archiving. That's tar, cpio, and dd. Let's get into it and find the right tool for the right job.
So, picture this. You need to save your project, maybe clone a whole drive, or just pack up a ton of files to send to someone. Where do you even begin?
And that really is the secret sauce. Each of these commands has a very specific superpower. If you use the right one, your life gets a whole lot easier, but if you grab the wrong one, well, it can be a real headache, or honestly, much, much worse.
Okay, first up is the one you'll probably reach for most of the time, tar. Think of it as your everyday go-to tool for just bundling up files.
The best way to think about tar is like a moving box. You've got all this stuff, files, folders, you name it, and tar just puts it all into one single tidy box, an archive. It makes everything so much easier to move around or just store away. And if you squish that box down to save space by compressing it, well, then you've got yourself a tarball.
Now, the real magic of tar is how it combines a few simple options. You use C to create, V to see what it's doing, which is super helpful, F to give your archive a name, and Z to compress it with gzip. Let's see how that all works in the real world.
Okay, so right here, we're just telling tar to create a new archive. The V means we'll see a list of the files as they're added, and F tells it the name, backup.tar. And what are we putting in it? Everything from the etc directory. It's simple, uncompressed, and just perfect for a quick backup.
But what if you're tight on space? Easy. See that little Z we added? That one letter tells tar to compress the whole thing using gzip. The result is a much smaller file, a backup.tar.gz, which is that tarball we were talking about. It's an absolute lifesaver for saving disk space.
All right, let's move on to cpio. Now, if tar is your all-purpose tool, cpio is more like a specialist. It's designed specifically to work with streams of data.
So cpio actually stands for copy in, copy out. And here's the big difference from tar. You don't give cpio a list of files directly. Instead, it waits for another command to feed it a list. It's kind of like a conveyor belt. Another command puts files on the belt, and cpio's at the end, packing them into an archive as they come down the line.
And this is the classic example. First, the find command goes and gets a list of every file in the current directory. Then, that vertical bar, that's the pipe, sends that whole list directly over to cpio. With the -o or copy out mode, cpio takes that stream of file names and creates your archive. This is so powerful when you need to back up a really specific or complex list of files.
In getting your files back, it's literally just the reverse. You feed the archive into cpio and use the copy in mode, that's the I option, and boom, it extracts everything. Super simple and really efficient.
Okay, time for our final tool, dd. And I have to say, this is the one you really need to respect. This is the power user's command for making low-level, bit-for-bit copies of raw data.
See, dd doesn't know what a file or a folder is. It doesn't care. It only sees raw blocks of data. The best analogy? It's like a high-powered photocopier for your entire hard drive. It makes a perfect, identical clone of a disk or a partition, bit by bit, without any idea what's actually written on the pages.
The thing about dd is that its power comes from its simplicity. You just tell it the input file with if, the output file with of, and maybe you set a block size, BS, to speed things up. And trust me on this one, you're going to want to use status equals progress so you can actually see that it's working and not just sitting there.
Here's the classic use case for dd, cloning an entire disk. With this single command, we are reading every single bit from our source disk, SDA, and writing it over to our destination disk, SDB. This gives you a perfect one-to-one clone. It's amazing for full system backups or setting up new machines. But this power comes with a very, very serious warning.
I really cannot stress this enough. If you get your input file, if, and your output file, OF, mixed up, you will overwrite your source disk. Your data will be gone. Instantly. There is no undo button, there's no recovery. So please, double, even triple check this command before you ever hit enter.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot. So let's pull it all together one last time so you know exactly which tool to grab for your next task.
So, to wrap it all up, use tar for your everyday backups of files and directories. It's simple, it's reliable. Use cpio when you need to archive files that are coming from a piped command. And for cloning entire disks or partitions, you reach for DD, but you always use it with extreme care. Each one of these tools has its perfect use case, right? From the simple tar ball to the incredibly powerful disk clone. Understanding the difference is what will really help you master your Linux system. So, now that you know the right tool for the job, what are you going to protect first?